Roll call, please, Jennifer.
Mike Dolson,
I'm here.
Tom McDonald,
Here.
Jennifer Finley, Jim Molitor,
Here.
Carol Langford, Danielle Matt,
Here.
Big Matt, James Steele Jr., Martin Charlo,
Present.
Len Tootie,
Present.
Denise Trahan.
Present.
Be honored to do that. I want to thank you for this day. We pray that all those that are traveling and going back to school, buses, as they start school up this week, they have a good, safe week and have a great year ahead of them. We want to give thanks for all of our healthcare workers, military, all those that put their lives in danger for the benefit of all of us. We give you thanks for all the resources you've given us, and we pray that all of us can work together as we move forward this week and this day. Give us your wisdom, and we thank you for our blessings. Amen. Thank you, Tom. We do have minutes from August 22nd.
One open.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of August 22nd with corrections, if any.
Motion by Bing to accept the minutes with corrections. Second by Danielle. All in favor? We got 6-4 and Tom abstains. Oh, Jimmy abstains as well. So 5-4 and Jimmy and Tom abstain. We have an agenda. What's happening in chat? We have 2 walk-ins. Any other items for the agenda? Martin? Okay. Anything else for the agenda? 2 walk-ins. I would motion by Tom to accept the agenda with the additions. Second by Bing. All in favor? Unanimous? Let's proceed to our first walk-in. Dolores?
Come on up, Dolores. Yeah. Have a seat and you'll turn the microphone on and welcome this morning. You push a button at the bottom that says talk, and then just leave it. It'll stay on the button that's right above talk.
Thank you.
There you go.
Okay. Okay, good morning, and I'm very happy to be here. One of our family members has a serious illness in Missoula, so that's why I got here last week. And I've been very ill the last couple of years. So it's been a while since I've even been back to the reservation. And usually when I come, I always like to visit the council, the tribal council. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of our tribe. And that's why I make the extra effort to be here. I'm going to begin. My dad was Steve Abel, and my mother, when she died, was Bernice Claremont, and related to the Big Cranes, and the Mary Ann Combs was my great grandma. I've lived over at Fort Belknap for almost 45 years. And I was sworn in as a commissioner in Blaine County in 2002. I've been a commissioner for 22 years. And when I got into office, it came into a Department of Justice lawsuit. The county hired Mountain States Legal Foundation, and this is kind of going around, but it'll tie up together. One of the attorneys from that foundation was William Pendley. I saw his name the other day in Project 2025 in that large document. He was one of the attorneys who represented Mountain States Legal Foundation, who opposed the tribe for voting for opening for the tribe to have their own district and a commissioner. And during the trial, I was not a plaintiff, but I was a witness. And during the questioning, the Republican lawyers are very good, very disarming with their questions, and they really know a lot about tribes. Some of the questions was, on your voting registration list, how do you know they're Indian? A good question. How do you know who is the Indian? At Fort Belknap, is there a lot of intermarriage between Indian and white? How many? How many still speak their language? Do these tribes get along? There's more than one tribe. If there was a voting issue, would they vote? Would they be able to vote together? Or are they very combative with each other? One of the lawyers even asked me, do I look like Indian? I said, yes, you do. There's Indians look we have all kinds of Indians. And one of them quoted Scott Momaday, as you think you are an Indian, as I think I am, I am. Do you agree with that? I said, no. In terms of being an Indian, I said, we are tribal people. And from our tribe, we recognize other people who want to belong, to identify with us. There has to be a relationship back and forth. And the questioning went, and then the Department of Justice lawyers stopped, and they told them, they said, she will answer no more questions. She is not an enrollment expert. And that was it. So after we took a break, and there, like I say, there was 4 DOJ attorneys, and I asked them, I said, what happened? And they said, the Republicans are always looking for cases like this for Indian identity, for enrollment. And that there was a case in Alaska with taro. They're always trying to figure out, they're always watching how you define an Indian and how they get along. And I haven't been here all these years, but I have seen the dissension here at Flathead through Facebook and from our members and even people who are not members, questioning who would be an Indian, what services they would get, genetics, DNA, all kinds of questions. What came out of that trial was very important to me. There were, and I hope I remember all 3, there were 3 things DOJ stressed. They said, for our identity, we're not Hispanic, we're not Blacks. For our identity as enrolled members is our language, our land, and our treaty rights. And those are specific to Indian tribes. And I've thought about that in coming here when I drive around with our land. Land culturally is everything that, and every living thing that is above the water, under the water, 2-legged, 4-legged, everything that has a spirit and that we are connected to as Indian people. And our language is distinct, unique to each tribe. From our language come our songs and our ceremonies. And we also have our Indian names. Those are the roots of who we are and how we communicate with each other. Then the treaty rights, and that's what I know your council is very familiar with, is what our ancestors dealt with long time ago when they had to decide, when it was forced upon them to have a boundary for a reservation, and that blood quantum came in, and there were so many other things that were foreign to us, but we had to comply. Today, our young people and other people are against the quantum. They're against a lot of things. But I think we have to go back to these 3 things, because if we're in court and the Republicans ever see a crack in our system, their lawyers are watching now. They were watching in 2002 in Blaine County. And so to you too, as council, I'm enrolled, but I live off the reservation. I'm not allowed to vote. The entire authority and power is here. Fort Belknap still hasn't completed their water settlement bill, but Blackfeet, Fort Belknap, Crow, they were all allowed their members to vote on these bills. And this is utmost importance of our identity. And I would like you to consider, as you're considering opening up possibly to other tribes, but the people who are already in the tribe, to find a way for us to be included, even the tribal members here to have a voice. And I believe that tribal councils need to have more forums with their members. And just as the Republicans had lawyers then, and they were watching these situations for tribal membership, our attorneys need to be present, because this is not just a discussion. This is a discussion legally about who we are. And with Project 2025, which is already in operation, in my office, right now I'm with 2 very extreme Trumpster commissioners. And they have no use for reservations. In fact, they have no use for government. And that's why when they get in, they would like to change some departments, get rid of them, dismantle them. And it's very reckless. I know from the east, many commissioners, they have really no regard for Lake County. They cannot stand the water compact and the bill that was done here. I hear this from them. And so, and I also, with that Project 2025 in the county, from the county level, I don't know how it is in Lake County. I talked to Gail Decker, and when I see things in the paper and I want more copies, I call them up and we have sessions on the phone. As commissioners, the transparency, and they have to give me information, and we talk. In our county, the commissioners make no bones that they do not like the state DPHHS. There's one high school already in our county that our county health department is not allowed to go into that school for measles vaccination. Because of vaccinations, we have a lot of dispute in the court for the court house to have signs about wearing masks. They're very argumentative with our county health staff. They really are vocal about it. So I see there's not a lot of regard for medical professions. And also with education. You know, in Montana, there was 1,000 vacancies in teaching positions. These professions are being abused and downgraded, and they're burnt out, and they're leaving. It's very crucial where I live, because when I've been sick, I have been flown out twice from Fort Belknap to Billings. Our health is far away, and we rely on that. And so here, and I also want to say that I know that there are other tribes here and other populations. I want to encourage the government and our people here, the tribal members, to stand tall about who we are. Because if we don't, other people will stand in front of us if they already are not, they already haven't tried. We have to make no bones about it that this is, you're in Salish, Pend Oreille, Kootenai country. This is our right. And I was thinking about what it would mean to add tribal members. And that would mean that your departments would be impacted with a larger population, and you would need more funding and more staff for more people. County and state governments are facing that too, as they see more populations coming in. The members that you have here, I think that information should be given to members about how are we doing for our members for housing, for the homeless, for those who are addicted? Are we able to serve everyone? And if we have more people, it's numbers. Will we be able to do that? Are we going to become have more pressure? And for the other tribes who have Indian blood and Salish and Pend Oreille and Kootenai, when they come in, that they still have a high regard for our languages, for our ways, and that they know our ways, and that we do not become less visible in our own land. And it is a fight every day. We are in a fight. When I go to Fort Belknap, I tell them, don't be in a bubble, because our governments are changing. What you used to depend on, even treaties, even your bills, your water bills, in Congress, they change them there. And they have Supreme Court, they can come right back to you. And it will be a different interpretation. That is what's happening. So I wanted to come tell you, one day I told the other two commissioners, I said, close the door. Usually with commissioners, you only close the door for litigation or personnel. But this is personal with us. I said, close the door. I want to talk to you too. And I told them, I said, publicly, 2 or 3 times, you have put down Lake County. You have said, I would never want to live there. You have said that that is a terrible place to be. You have said that in public meetings. And I want you to know that's hurtful to me. I'm from there. Those are my people. And we have gone through, many changes in our reservation. We have seen a lot of different changes, and still we have adapted. Still we have been resilient to be one of the leading tribes in Montana. We have done the best we could. And you have stated, those are my people. And I haven't taken you up on it in public because those are our constituents. But I will, and we're talking about it right now. That, and I told them, I said, I have been here over 22 years, and I have worked with other Democrat and Republican commissioners. You two are the worst. As the government and the political atmosphere is here now, it has gotten rougher and meaner. And I said, now it has shown here. And I am talking to you personally for us to get along and do our business. But do not run down another place, because I will take you on. And since I have been there, I have made progress with Republican and Democrat population. I have a base I go to because I work with everyone for the best. So I am here today to tell you that I want to be included somehow in your process for looking at or reviewing our identity, the blood quantum. That issue will not go away. The progress, if you call it progress here on our reservation, it is changing. In 10 years, I don't know what we'll look like in 20 years. And our young people have got to read their Constitution. They have to know who they are. And we need more communication with the young people and our elders. And things will change. They just change. Montana is changing. And we do feel the influx of wealth coming into our state. Some places you cannot even work and rent there because it's too expensive. I could see this happening here. This is a prime place. So we have to look out for our members today, where they live. How will they be able to survive in the future? But we need your legal help, because on the other side, commissioners, the white people, I just say it, white people are talking about this, and they have lawyers and they're talking. It's no secret. And they have their agenda. That's why they have 2025. And that is very real. And it's, and the water bill. And the other thing I have seen change, it has usually, before it had been government to government, Indian Nation to Washington, D.C., to Congress. In this last compact, I have sat 15 years with the Blackfeet and Fort Belknap Water Compact through St. Mary's Working Group. I have seen that turn around. so that you have Hester and you have your congressional people, Republican Danes, and from Montana, the congressional team. They have a direct link to Gianforte and his staff. Gianforte and Danes called directly to our office, to the commissioners from the state and from Danes, to see if they are happy with those water bills, if there should be any changes on them. I have seen those bills redlined right from Gianforte's office. Counties have risen up in a different kind of way to be heard by our congressmen. And sometimes I get emails and I have to check to see if Fort Belknap has even received the email yet. There's the line of authority has changed. And right now, Zinke is carrying a Blackfeet water bill. Rosendale and Danes are carrying Belknap's bill. Those two tribes are still at odds at each other over the Milk River. Some of the younger people think that just because tribes are going to unite by blood, we're all going to get along. Our own tribal territories and our own ways and our own assets, we still protect them individually in court. And so when I have seen how this has changed, we had our commissioner stop, would not support Fort Belknap's water bill, and everything went on hold. He would not support it. And we got many calls from Dane's office and wanting to know, what more can we do for you, Commissioner? What needs to be changed? When I hear this, I go to Fort Belknap and tell them. Then I look at the council and I think, I did my part, it's up to you. Because that is no secret. When this happens, that's transparency. But you see the dynamics changing, and so I wanted to share that with you as a county commissioner. I have 2 more years in office. And I started when I was 58. I'm 79 years old. Holy wow. 79. And I'm getting up there with Trump and Biden. They have asked me, are you going to finish your term? Some days I feel like it, and I'm looking at maybe this will be my last year. It's been an honor to serve there, to be a non-tribal member, but to serve Fort Belknap Reservation. And it's been hard, but I like politics. And whatever I know, I want tribal people to know, especially my tribe here, because I see this tribe moving so fast in your transformation on how to serve the people, on who we are. What is the Indian? Who are we? And legally, who are we? What will we lose if we're in court? And these Republicans are watching that, and they come at us through some case, and they are ready, because this would be a prime win for them. And so that's all I have to say. Like I said, I'm not taking sides either way. I've looked at Facebook about enrolling, not enrolling. I am still to be tutored by our legal people here and by the leadership here as to what all do you consider? What has to be considered legally? What would be a negative for us? How do we go forward? And more importantly, to really work at communication with all of our members. Some people talk to me about water bills, even at Belknap, or here I always ask the member, where is your copy of your water bill? Have you read it? No. I said, do you know in Blaine County, they actually carry copies of the water bill on Fort Belknap with them. They even have them tabbed. They know what is in that bill. And our members have to know, even more importantly, about our tribe, our constitution. There's a lot I don't know. and our very lives depend on it. Our people, your decisions are so important, and I pray for you every day, for all of our governments. I pray for the world globally. I see how I think everyone is worried about if we go into another war, losing money. I've seen such a change over here with these trees falling down, the high winds. Climate change, that's one thing Republicans do not believe in. They don't even like to talk about it in our county. Won't allow it. But something is happening. So then we have to ask through DES and those agencies, will they continue to have enough money to fund all of these areas with these disasters? And how will they be able to help? They may come in once or twice, and then you're on your own. And here again, this reservation has a larger population. You have more towns. You have 4 counties. You have a lot more to work with. You really have a lot on your plate. I admire you for your sophistication in how you do things. I am proud of our place. And so that's why I'm here, and I just wish you all well. Carol knows Martin. Whenever I send emails over here, any information I get, I try to share. I'm always available as long as I'm in office to do what I can and just wish each other well. County government, I have a different kind of respect for them. I don't know, I have heard how much tribal governments have gotten in ARPA or COVID money. Where I'm from, the reservation got 45 million. Do you know how much Blaine County got? 2 million. And I checked with other counties. I haven't checked with Decker and them up here about how much they get. Counties and with our staff that we have 70 people in our county staff. Do you know on our raises we may get $1.50, $1 a year? And when I see comments on the page that, well, county could be doing more. If counties in the east depend on PILT, payment in lieu of tax dollars. If our county did not have it, we are bankrupt. We depend on that so much. We are broke. So here I see, I haven't checked with these guys. That's public information, their budget, how much staff, what are you doing? And then when I see the amount of money here, there was a big crisis. Your county, state, I believe the tribe here would be really looked to as a resource to help people. And then you would have to decide, is it going to be tribal people or who are you legally bound to help? But I have gotten a different, maybe I was a liberal when I was younger. Since I've been in office, I think I've become more conservative and watch the dollar. You have to. At times we've had to do a moratorium on salaries, could not hire anyone else, shut things down because that's where our county was at financially. So I really am so honored to be here. I asked prayers for my family. The last 2 years I got sick and I was allergic to a statin. The statin was for high blood pressure. And I lost all my muscular system. And I couldn't lift my neck or my arms or my legs. I was in a wheelchair and I was in extreme therapy, rigorous therapy in Billings. When I returned home, I was in a wheelchair. And now I'm at this point. And so I am very happy to be able to do whatever I can. Very happy. And And I must say to young people, we have young people on the council, and older people, it is a fight every day, as you know, to stay healthy. It is a fight every day, even mentally, our spirit, everything. It is a fight every day to take care of ourselves. And I try to do that the best that I can. I always pray for our people, the West here. You all matter very much to me, and I will continue to defend our tribe to those commissioners. And so that is my privilege to do that. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dolores, for all your words. Any comments? Carol, then Lynn.
Yeah, Dolores, thank you. You're a longtime family friend of my husband from Fort Belknap, of course. And I just want to thank you for all the work that you do on behalf of Indian people. It's obvious you know your stuff, and I know when you send something to me, I better darn well read it and I better understand it because you're sending it for a reason. So I really do appreciate that. And also, if your daughter needs anything, I mean, if we can, whatever we can do here to help out. I know she's a member here and Joe's coming in, and so I don't know if you wanted to stay and visit with him, but I'm sure you're taken care of. So just let us know, keep me posted. I will do what I can to help out.
Okay, tell Tom hello. Thank you.
I will. Prayers to you.
Go ahead, Lynn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the council. Dolores, thank you for taking the time and stopping by and visiting with us. That really means a lot to us. And thank you for your service. Thank you for your service as a commissioner. I know you've been there for a number of years. As a matter of fact, I remember living with Mom in Rocky Boy, and she would always talk about you and your sister back in the boarding school days. And so, but anyway, I just wanted to once again, thank you. And those were very powerful words that you shared with us today. And we're very grateful. Thank you.
Yeah. I want to ask you from what I said, does this surprise you or not with 2025 and the Republicans, and I'm sure with your legal department and the legal situations that you get into, but when you hear something like that, how do you feel?
I gotta say, it doesn't surprise me. I've watched it for a long time. And yeah, it peaks and it subsides and it peaks and subsides. We always have, for lack of a better word, enemies. We always have them. And I'm as afraid as you are, Dolores. The arguments that are being made in the courts and by legislatures and by commissioners about equal protection, they don't respect any notion of Indian. They don't even respect having a different language. And so I really concentrate on the fact that we're Aboriginal, that we were here first, and we can always count on that. We were here first by a long time. And I focus on that, and I don't know if that'll make a difference or not, but that they don't respect anything else. So I'm not surprised, and the fight will continue. Even if it subsides now, it's still going to continue. So, Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for coming in and the few times we've been able to talk on the phone and actually meet in person. Yeah, I think that the importance of that is mobilizing our people to vote and really educating them on our issues, the things that we're really facing. The stacking of the Supreme Court has been scary. And so, you know, we're understanding the landscape and taking court cases that possibly would have brought in and fought, maybe thinking twice about it because of that. You know, there's some things going in Montana right now. You know, our water bill is going to be challenged, and eventually probably will go get to the Supreme Court. So hopefully, you know, by then we may have some change, but it's really important, you know, at our level, at least for, you know, the congressional races and the Senate races, that we get out and mobilize our people to vote and hopefully vote in a way that will benefit our people, you know, for a long time, you know, because that's one thing that I hope that, they look at is the Supreme Court before Biden's out of there. And I know they were talking about some things, but yeah, it's a prospect that they're changing. I mean, you know, they're changing case law that's been there forever and kind of spitting in the face of it. So, yeah, get people to vote. I know your area is a little.
When I went into office, there were Democrat commissioners, and they voted against opening up us having a district and me. And so, and I'll tell you the truth, and I told Bussy the other day, he was stumping in Blaine County, and I told him, I said, you Democrats have to step up, including Tester. I said, it is hard to campaign and to do the work in Indian country. Sometimes on registration, on voting day, you have to go to the same house 3 times to get that vote to come in. It takes a lot of work. And I also told him, I said, and I told the chairman of the tribe at Belknap, I said, Tester has to work harder for you. Why are the Republicans, their fingerprints are all over that bill? And they have to work harder. And if we lose in our county right now, it's almost all Republican in our courthouse. And so, and our state, if it gets more red, it is, and the people there, the families there, the white families, they turn out on a regular basis. Their constituents are just habitual voters. You don't have to convince them. You don't have to ask them, please come vote. So the issues, our young people have to know why. And the Democrats need to pour more money into our state and more workers. I told Bussy, I said, at Hayes, you know how in your primary, you know how many voters you had? 26. 26 voters. Well, we're going to get more in the primary. I said, well, I certainly hope. And I said, how are you going to do it? Well, we have a plan. The days are marking off. It's almost voting day. You need an army. The other thing I told them, I said, you're looking at reservations. What about all of our Indians who are living in Missoula, Havre, Billings, Great Falls, all the Indian vote there? Do you have a plan for them? He said, we're working on the plan. So that is not enough, especially with who we're, with the other side. They turn out, they do mean business. And we are trying to rally people here. So that is another concern I have for this election coming up. Because if we lose, we're going to lose big. We haven't even seen it yet. So that's the other thing I have to say. So you know, we're almost, the Milk River is so low. Besides fighting for water rights, we're worrying about not having water. And we're looking at FEMA and DES about what we will do. Tester has not shown up in person once in that area. I tell them over there, I said, you know, his favorite place is right here. He's been here about 3 times. He was up in Missoula. Eastern Montana, he has not been there. He's from Big Sandy. And he better not take that area for granted, because those farmers and ranchers, when you go down the highway, you just see big signs, Trump, Trump, Trump country. So if you see him, they all have to step it up. They've received a lot of money, and our people themselves, our young people, the colleges, I know they can't politically have a, endorse someone, but in the 60s, we used to have forums about our identity and have political talks. Young people now today is indigenous, and I think, what does that mean? Under that word, there's a lot of things that we mean about our identity, about our rights, housing, all the needs that we have. Why should they go vote? So even our colleges over here, our young people need to be more active, more politically engaged, using their mind and their bodies to activate. Because when they come into office, we expect as much from them. It's even going to be more crucial for them in the years coming ahead for our tribal members and the decisions they make. So yay, that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dolores.
Yeah.
The next one will be in executive.
Yeah, we'll go out of regular into executive. Do we need a short break? Anybody? I guess we'll move forward with Joe. Power on. You're up, Joe. Come on up. Morning.
Okay. Good morning. I'm here with two construction project requests. I understand I need tribal council approval before I can move them forward. First one is I want to install a backup generator at the R. Lee Health Clinic. We do not have one there. We have refrigerators down there that we want to make sure stay on in case of a power outage to protect those vaccines or secure those vaccines. And keep our EHR up and running if there's ever a power outage. So that's the first project. I don't know if it requires action or just, I'm not sure.
Go ahead, Tom, and then.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm hoping this is coming out of your ARPA funding. Is that correct? It's not coming out of third-party revenue, is it?
It could come out of either, Tom. It could come out of the third-party revenue or ARPA funding. I believe we have some ARPA funding, construction, leasing, or anyway, there's a ARPA pool of funds available to move forward with this. Yes.
I just think that, I'm still waiting for the, potential for a Medicare B.
Mhm.
And I think third-party revenue is a potential funding source for that. And so I'm just hesitant to authorize anything or support anything that's coming out of that without something back from you that codifies what we're doing with Medicare B funding. And then also want to make sure we exhaust any ARPA funding if there's any available. I know they're a little bit different with your money. I think it lasts longer, but certainly want to use that for this kind of a project.
Sure. Understood. Yeah, we'll certainly use ARPA funding available if that's available first. I mean, there's a time frame on that resource. So yeah, if it's available, use it. Yeah, okay.
Martin, you were looking to just make the motion?
As long as it's coming out of ARPA funding.
Carol, you got a question?
We'll ask the department head to maybe follow through on what was recommended, but I think it's your budget. You need to make the call.
Motion by Carol,
Like Tom,
second by Danielle. All in favor? Keep the refrigerators in the Arley Clinic active.
Thank you. Second project is in the Polton Health Clinic. Oh,
It was unanimous. Did I not call for it? Should I call for it?
It was unanimous? I thought you said, I just didn't hear it is what I thought.
Okay. I thought I called for it. Go ahead, Joe.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Second project is a remodel in the Polson Health Clinic. As I've brought to you before, we are crunched for space. There is space on that first floor. If you've ever been in that first floor in the clinic up there, we used to have a significant area dedicated to medical records. They were hard copy records. We've since digitized those records. We want to remodel that space to use it to put reconfigure our lab space and our nurses station back in that space. So it was an open space right behind that desk that had those files of medical records, that kind of rolling file cabinet of medical records. We just want to remodel that space and use that space to support services at the medical clinic.
Questions?
Again, ARPA funds, if they're available to do that, yes.
Go ahead, Tom.
No, absolutely. That's, yeah, again, I think that when I think about third-party revenue, that we can provide a better service to our membership by not doing this with that money and use other money that's appropriate for it. So,
Motion by Carol. Second by Bing. All in favor? We're unanimous. Remodel on the Polson Clinic. Go ahead, Carol.
I was wondering if the vice chair wanted to make a motion on a deadline for what his request was. And I don't know what's appropriate, but I think, you know, we either got to have a yes or no or a deadline so we know what to expect.
Mr. Chair,
There's a plan.
we already did put a deadline on it. And it's past due. So you want to identify a penalty for not meeting deadlines? That would be the next action, in my opinion. It already has a deadline, which is quite a while ago.
So we're expecting as soon as possible.
Yeah, we're working. It's a complex issue, and not to minimize the discussion, Vice Chair, but we've got to get back in front of you. I'm not certain, and you can remind me if the council has taken action to support a Medicare B supplemental payment. We've brought some options for you. We've got some draft documents prepared for that. I don't know. We're at a point where we want to send out letters to all those 65 or older, but we want to be clear about what those letters say and what the support may be that we're asking to support. So I'm not sure. Again, I could have just be not remembering correctly that the council as a body has taken action to pick a specific direction or a support amount. If I missed it, I missed it. If not, I'm not sure, you know, how much information we put in front of that population without kind of a clear path, a clear direction, a clear support level in place.
Go ahead, Tom.
Maybe if I could, maybe we can reconvene the health committee and clarify some, I guess, some direction I missed or clarify some direction I think might be necessary for us to move forward.
Tom.
Well, Mr. Chair, if that enables Joe to get this done, certainly we can do that. I would make it as simple as possible, Joe. So we've given you clear direction, at least in my opinion, and I've been here a long time and I consider you a friend.
Mm-hmm.
So I would expect that you would come back, you would have came back with, here's option one, option two, here's how much we're going to fund Medicare B supplement for every eligible tribal member if they apply for a refund. And then we would implement that. And there's been just different times when you come back with different course, or we have this issue or that issue. And it's not that difficult for me. If I'm paying Social Security for Medicare B, set up an application for me to apply for a refund, because I did that for the year for Medicare B. Simple as that. How much money is available? That was the only question that I had. What is affordable for us to supplement Medicare B payments for every tribal member, senior citizen that wants to pursue that? The other things that are complicated for me is that how do we benefit from that more so in your program operations? What are the services you can provide that we might be able to get that reimbursement from Medicare B to even make our tribal health program stronger? Those were the things that I was a little bit confused on, and I don't know what the ramification was, but I think it's a win-win. And certainly the level of services for our membership for Medicare B being provided them would increase, definitely. And that is a segment of our population that needs a lot of attention as we move forward. And it's a big cost for you. And insurance, you're doing it now. It's like whoever, but you're covering already over probably 180 people for Medicare B. And it's not uniform, and there's no standard, there's no program. It's a case by case thing. So it's not being fair for the tribal membership on how it's being implemented right now. So the sooner you do it in a fair way and the sooner we implement it, the better off we are. So thank you.
Carol.
Yeah, this does make me nervous. I know when you brought that in, Joe, we didn't take action on which way to go, did we? I don't recall that we did. I could be mistaken. But the other thing is that this has to be thought out. You can't just arbitrarily send letters out. And if there's a mistake, it's hard to pull that stuff back. So it needs to be, and I want to make sure that the council knows what's going out when it goes out. Because if there's one mistake, you're going to be in huge trouble. So I want to make sure this is well thought out. I don't want to just, okay, well, this is easy and let's get it done. And I want to make sure that this program, this department is going to be stable enough into the future. I mean, if that means forgoing this, I guess it does, but I want to make sure. And I know some people feel real confident about it, but I'm just not sure yet if that's the case. And so there is reluctance, but if there's council action, it's action and you need to move forward.
Good, Tom.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And all due respect, Carol, we're doing it now. So he's doing it. He's paying Medicare B supplement for people right now. It's happening. We've already crossed that line. So what we need to do is make it an offer for every eligible tribal member. We need to make it fair across the board. But it's happening. How many you got enrolled right now, Joe?
You're right, approximately 180. And our decision-making is based around medical need now. So we have a process where we visit with those particular individuals and identify if they've got some medical condition that we believe will require a high level of healthcare going forward. So right now, Tom, you're right. It's not widespread, but if there's a medical condition that we're aware of or that person has come in and visited with us about it, we'll support that Medicare B because there's an underlying medical condition. We believe there's a cost savings to the paid care program because Medicare will be in front of tribal health paid care to make those payments.
But 170 compared to 800 is quite a huge difference. But if we're doing it,
Yeah.
and you feel like it can be done, you need to make the recommendation so we can move forward.
Yep.
You just need to bite the bullet. I know you're a money guy and you're really tight with that stuff, but if we can do it, I think we just want to benefit the membership. And
Yeah.
I appreciate Tom thinking this through because, you know, it's something we all strive to do is to help our membership not have to be so tight. I mean, everything is so tight. You get $500 in Social Security. Who in the hell can make it on that amount? I mean, it's not our fault, but still there are people and we care about them. So sorry.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, that's the one thing I love about Joe is that he's very cautious and he does move in a position. Sometimes it drives me crazy. So, I mean, that's obvious with this one, because this has been a subject matter for 2 years. And so and it's something we've been doing. It makes so much sense to do it. I mean, it's ridiculous. And there's other insurance we're providing for other folks that's not Medicare B. And it's based on a situation-based analysis, but I think it's a great move forward. So I just don't want to get back to the subject matter, I don't want to take third-party revenue when I think a great service could be provided for Medicare B supplement.
Sure, a couple things. So it's about 180 out of about a 1,500, I think, approximately 1,500 tribal members 65 or older. Significant potential impact to budget. Yeah, and maybe Tom, maybe some perspective. So Medicare is not Medicare obviously pays at a lower rate than everybody else. So it's not our primary revenue source. Medicaid is. If you look at those reports from Medicaid and from us, Medicaid is the single largest payer for healthcare services to us. And then insurance pays is probably our second largest payer. And Medicare is the third. Not that it's material or not. I'm just creating some perspective about it. I think that the value, maybe the greatest value initially, will be savings to the paid care program. So paid care will not be out those resources when Medicare is the payer in front of them.
Don't go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, that's kind of like, here's your existing program based on what's going on and what you can bill for. But there's lots of services that you're not billing for that you could get into that would be part of that formula for Medicare B. And that's what I'm reflecting on. And I don't like to see, real small services that are better off provided by a larger health facility, not us. And so sometimes I think some things that you're doing that are, such a small service that, and not even reimbursable. Those type of things are difficult for me to look at. So I really appreciate the health committee stuff, and I would have appreciated actually this come before the health committee versus council. Anyway, thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Tom.
Third-party revenue is not taxable.
I don't believe it's taxable. It'll be reportable, but not taxable to the individual. Yeah.
Any distributions over $600, we have to report under a 1099 non-employee compensation, NEC. So we'll be required to create a tax file and report a 1099 NEC for a distribution of those resources. Whether or not it's taxable is up to each individual's tax situation, but we'll have to account for it on our books.
The Medicare B comes out of your Social Security, which is taxable. So it's all that. But what you're doing is you're reducing that overall liability for an individual tribal member to get health care. And we're reimbursing that cost to them. So it's a win for them.
Unless we paid it directly to Social Security, no?
Can't do it.
Can't do it.
Can't pay for them?
It's got to come out of your individual Social Security.
Part D you can, right? Because I know
Right.
Kevin Hallett paid, that's a drug one? Kevin Hallett paid, I think, some of them because they missed a deadline. This has been a long time ago.
Well, that was B.
That'd be a penalty?
Yeah, when
You might have paid a penalty.
yeah.
Kevin signed up for everything he could.
Yeah.
That's fine, Carol. You're doing good.
So when should we have the health committee
So
make the decision on this?
if you'll check calendars, I'm
Next week?
yeah, I think we could be prepared for a discussion next week or whatever your calendar permits.
Check with Jennifer. Thank you, Joe.
Okay, all right, thanks. Thanks, Tom.
You're up, Greg. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of council. So today I have in front of you a handful of resolutions that are simply designed to update the signature authority with the different financial institutions with which we do business. I believe they're up in order with Eagle Bank, and so it's of note that we're not changing any of the conditions. It's always 2 signatures required on our financial relationships, and these are the order of, think about the position, the Director of Financial Management, the Central Accounting Manager, the General Ledger Manager, and the Accounts Payable. They're going to be,
Motion by Carol and the resolution for the accounts for Eagle Bank. Second by Jimmy. All in favor? Unanimous. Next,
the next one is for First Interstate Bank, our FWIS escrow account.
motion by Martin, second by Carol. All in favor? Unanimous. Go ahead, Len.
So any reason why we don't keep this all in our tribal bank? I just don't know, so.
We keep a substantial amount inside of the tribal bank, multiples of what we keep in other institutions. The FWIS escrow account was part of the FERC agreement where EKI distributes about 2.6 million, and there's an escrow account with First Interstate Bank to hold those assets pertinent to the other agreements with duties that go with those funds. So when there is not a reason to be at another bank, we are with Eagle Bank.
Okay. Thanks, Greg.
Page 11 is for Linsco Private Ledger, LPL.
Motion by Carol. Second by Martin. All in favor? LPL.
Page 12 is for the relationships we have with Charles Schwab.
Charles Schwab.
They were formerly TD Ameritrade.
Motion by Carol. Second by Tom. All in favor? Unanimous.
Page 13 is the relationship we have with the Bureau of Trust Fund Administration. We have several staff members that can have view access, and then several that can, a small handful that can make transactions.
BTFA. Motion by Carol, second by Tom. All in favor? Unanimous.
And lastly, the core sweep account, I believe on page 15, are the authorized individuals. As a matter of fact, Tony Incashola is an addition here. This is for the request for funds for the annual FWIS distribution for the duties they carry out. This is the signature page for that.
Motion by Bing. Second by Tom. All in favor? We're unanimous.
He'll be around to collect signatures from the council chairman and vice chairman, and we'll get those notarized and be all set. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Mr. Wilson. Good morning. Greg, how are you?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Council. Today's issue is for the safety of dams is a request for a non-competitive MSA with Dow engineers for Hubbard Dam for continuation of movement surveys and data collection on instruments that are on the face of the dam. The following pages provide a little bit more detail on the history at Hubbard Dam, but basically starting in around 2021, BIA contracted with Bureau of Reclamation to do what's called a comprehensive review to gauge an assessment of the dam, and comprehensive reviews are done at each dam, but every 10 years. And this go around, there was a decision to do more analysis at the dam that included concrete coring to core into the dam, pull out the core, do testing on it, see how structurally sound it is, how strong it is. The cores did not provide what we considered a good concrete that was very sound. The results lead to there's still strength in the dam, but the additional monitoring that was then established was basically twofold. There were instruments installed in the dam that measured some sort of movement in the dam, as well as some determined targets on the dam that would then be, data would be collected on those targets with very precision survey grade GPS survey equipment. And the combination of the data collection is showing a trend on how the dam is moving throughout the year, from cold weather to warmer weather and water rising above the dam. Earlier this year, we were informed by BIA Safety of Dams that they could not increase the budget with Dow to continue with the survey monitoring program. And BIA Central Office asked Safety of Dams if there was something that we could do. And this led to this MSA and initial task order to be able to continue with the monitoring survey data collection that then is given to BIA. BIA said, if you can do that, we'll give you the money. And the packet information, probably starting on page 19 of council packet, shows the email string that BIA has, as I see it, has identified, yes, we will give you the money if the contract with Dow through the MSA can continue with, right now, we're looking at another 3 survey periods of data collection. The potential of going into next year may occur, but we want to at least get at least 3 months worth of data collection before winter sets in, to then be able to analyze and determine how to move forward next year. So the request to council is first approval of the MSA, which is in the amount of $200,000, which again is basically not to exceed. But then right now, the current specific task order that's identified is for $72,655 to be able to get ideally 2 to 3 more surveys done up at the dam this year.
Questions for Greg? Entertain a motion to approve the master services agreement. Motion by Tom. Second by Carol. All in favor? You with us, Len? Seven, 4, and Len abstains. Go ahead, Tom.
So Greg, the information I find out from this dam, will this affect how they deal with Hoover Dam, since this was a prototype for Hoover?
I don't fully understand the question, but I'd say the Hubbard Dam, yeah, it was a test project, my own opinion, and the quality, the construction methodologies do seem very unusual for that type of dam. And whether council is aware, I was born and raised over in Yakima, Washington, and Central Washington was basically a desert. Then it became irrigation through extensive Bureau of Reclamation construction, and the quality of the concrete over there tremendously surpassed what I've seen here, not just with dams, but also with the irrigation system. I was surprised, and other things that I've seen, a lot of tunneling that didn't quite make sense to me in certain areas. And yeah, my opinion is, yeah, test bed here to then implement others. There's, to me, the methodology of the Hubbard Dam, meaning how it was constructed, was unique, but not knowing some details, let's say it had to be built in an arch fashion, but it's very lean on the concrete, and the recognition of materials affecting the dam strength. In this case, in the packet, I referred to alkali silica reaction, and that's a term that says basically there's a reaction between the aggregate and the cement, and it starts weakening the bond between the aggregate and the cement. And to say back in the day, was there an understanding of this type of reaction? I had never looked into that in any detail, but to say that more concrete and a wider base, more reinforcing steel would have been something I would have expected in this dam, and it's not there. So yeah, unfortunately we're dealing in working with BIA on, yeah, there's problems, and we have started discussion as far as BIA considering on their side to start looking at design options moving forward. It's just very preliminary, but yeah, I'm forcing the issue on having them recognize they're going to have to deal with this. It's always going to be a difficult discussion with them, but I've told them, no, it's their issue to deal with. They are aware that we have complications not only with the dam structure. Obviously the enhanced monitoring is going to help as far as potential downstream impacts should a situation arise and there is an unfortunate release of water down the dam, through the dam downstream. But they also have to recognize that it's also recreation, tribal culture, and irrigation. And they have to, I've told them more than once, you know, it's important, and they can't just not blow it off, but they also have risk registers of different dams that have different priority rankings on downstream risk. And it's not as high as I'd like to see on their radar, but as things move forward, I will continue to keep council aware on how things are progressing with discussion and how BIA's central office is moving forward in, you know, further activities.
Thank you, Greg, for that's the whole thing. They experimented on us.
Yes, I'm glad I'm not the only one that saw that, and I apologize if maybe things have been mentioned in the past that I haven't picked up on, but yes, most definitely, this is a test bed.
Soon to just be a pile of gravel, huh? Carol?
Yeah, I was just curious, you know, every time I've been to Hubbard Dam, there's never enough water. I mean,
Yeah.
I know that's not your fault, but I'm just saying, I mean, is there really a reason to be concerned?
While I can't speak to a lot of information that may help answer your question, but of dialogue that I've had with Seth Makepeace, the large area behind Hubbard Dam, it's called Watershed. It's just doesn't see enough snow or rain in that area. And then further upstream of Hubbard Dam is Little Bitterroot Dam up in Marion. So that water is released, runs down Little Bitterroot River, and then hits the Hubbard Dam. But with the irrigation operation, they try to balance, you know, how much water they want to save before sending it down the system. And Hubbard is a catch point, but it doesn't have a large enough watershed to really fill on an annual cycle.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, we also have task order 1 under this master services agreement.
Yes.
72,500, something like that.
$72,655.
There you go. I would, motion by Tom. Second by Bing. All in favor? That's 7-4, you're still abstaining? Yeah. 7-4 and Len abstains. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you, council.
Scott, you're up. Come on up. Morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of council. Today I have a update. I brought DJNA's Jacqueline Smith, and I'll let her introduce the rest of her staff that's working on this Safe Streets for All Safety Action Plan for us. And she'll go into giving you the summary. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for allowing us this opportunity to visit with you about the plan we are working on. We did share a PDF of the frequently asked question sheet, but I do have printouts as well. Is it okay if I hand those out? Joining with me virtually is Mirta. She is overseeing the engagement side of things. So before I hand it to Mirta, I didn't officially introduce myself. I apologize for that. My name is Jacqueline Smith, and I'm a senior project manager with DJNA, and I am managing this plan that we are working on. Mirta, are you able to introduce yourself?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, members of the council. My name is Mirta Becerra, and as Jacqueline mentioned, I am one of the members working, part of the team working on this planning process. And back to you, Jacqueline, or do you want me to go over some of our public engagement process?
I'll go ahead and speak for a little bit and then hand it back to you if that works.
Yep, thank you.
So we're in the very early stages of this. We just had the kickoff meeting, just the beginning of August to start developing this plan. So the timing is great to come to you in that we're seeking and giving you the opportunity to help influence how we take this plan. But on the flip side, at this time, we don't have much information to share other than the fact sheet. So we are currently in data collection and starting to prepare the different components of the plan, but we do want input from you as we progress the plan. So looking at this frequently asked question sheet, I expect that this is going to be a living document that is updated throughout. And so right now, they're very generic questions that we anticipate, such as, what is the safety action plan? What is Safe Streets for All, which is the grant funding that CSKT received to fund the development of this plan? Why is a safety action plan needed? What are the main objectives of the safety action plan? Who are the key stakeholders? We give a general time frame on the development. How is this funded? And then a big one we want to emphasize is that at this time with this funding, there is no construction planned. However, we are developing it on a time frame where we're setting CSKT up to pursue the next round of Safe Streets for All grant funding to construct any priority projects identified with this plan. So I'll pause for a moment. I do want this to be pretty interactive, if that's okay. Are there any questions right now?
How safe are you guys feeling? Any questions?
Okay, so the plan is focused for the Flathead Reservation, and it is for all the roadways throughout the reservation. So it's not just focusing on 93 or state routes. Local routes are considered as well. We have been collecting crash data, and there's 4 components that are going to make up the action plan. The first one is leadership, commitment, and goal setting. So that's where we're establishing what the goals of this plan are. Another one is planning structure. So coming up with the structure on and the plan for how it's going to be implemented. Next one is safety analysis, and that's the one where we've been focusing a lot of effort right now, is collecting crash data, reaching out to the local emergency services and getting feedback from them on high crash areas. So I'm going to pause actually on that one and open it up if there's any areas of concern that tribal council has that we should be focusing on with this plan.
Go ahead, Lynn.
Yeah, now this is 93, is that okay?
Yes.
Housing Authority, the Salish Kootenai Housing Authority turnoff. That should be a major one for S&K Technologies and Housing, north and south.
Okay, I'm making notes.
And you know where that is, right? Scott?
Yeah, and you've brought that up to MDT to look into as well, and I think they have, and I need to see where they're at and looking into that, and we'll touch base with them.
Almost feels like it needs to have a frontage road or something, but I never knew there was a crossover to People Center, where the People Center used to be. I never knew there was a cross there. I mean, you know, that you could cross over that medium.
Lynn, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the council. Yeah, I think a lot of the safety concerns are Highway 93 that we have brought up on numerous occasions. And we're going to continue to bring them up because they are serious hazards that there were flaws, is what they were. There were flaws in the design system on these segments of the highway, especially the ones that Carol have just mentioned. But up north, one of our concerns is the concerns and complaints that I've heard is speed limits through Elmo. In the summertime, a majority of the kids are crossing the highway to get to the lake. And there's just a huge issue of people speeding through there, and we don't ever have any highway patrolmen patrolling the area or nothing. But if we can get more signs put up, you know, the reader boards that shows how fast you're going. I know they had those up at one time, but I think those were very effective. But yeah, I think that's probably one of the larger concerns up there, up in the Elmo area.
Okay, thank you.
You collect the statistics on the car versus animal crashes, because
Yes.
Highway 28 and 382 have immense amount of deer killed.
Yes, we're not focusing on any one certain crash trend or type. All of them are going to be evaluated. So the recommendations from this plan could include wildlife crossings. They could include policy changes, such as enforcement requirements or more signing. The recommendations are going to just be broad and wide. It can be anything from just adding some additional striping to, you know, major reconstruction project, or it could even be education programs too.
Jimmy?
Yeah, if I could just continue on these safety issues on Highway 93. When you're coming into, especially when coming right into the reservation, where you got passing lanes. In those passing lanes, you have left turn lanes to people's homes. And when people are turning off to go home, cars are passing and they're coming 80 miles an hour. It's really dangerous. I've seen cars swerving and trying to get out of the way, and people trying to just get off the road, just let them get run over.
Yeah.
It's really dangerous. The passing lanes and the left turn lanes are a real hazard. When Carol's talking about, when Leonard's talking about it, it's throughout the whole corridor. And, it's an issue. I just don't see anybody getting killed in there. This morning, I live in Evero, so coming in this morning, there was 4 deer just past the railroad bridge in Evero, laying on the highway. Horrible. I mean, it's a real issue. It's a real, animal crossing right there. As you go around, get around that corner, there's bear, moose, deer, everything being hit there. It's a real hazard.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you for that.
Lauren?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know we have a nice pedestrian walkway here in Pablo, but people don't use it, especially north of Corville Trail. There's housing units up there. They go across to Sparrow Lane and Wobbler Lane. And on the other side, there's Maggie Ashley, and that's kind of a thoroughfare, and there are people going through. There's actually they put a gate in the fence so people can go in and out there because the people were just jumping the fence so often. And so right there isn't really a sanctioned crosswalk, but it definitely has traffic. So even if there could be signs saying pedestrian traffic or, we have unfortunately, there was a fatality there right by, the, housing. Anyway, yeah, TLC, they were in here today. But yeah, right there's a cross and, still an unsolved highway hit and run. And so that area there, I think would, like I said, signage or a slower speed limit. I'd actually advocate for Pablo to have a slower speed limit because even with the 45, people are still going, 60 through here. I get past when I'm speeding.
Thank you for that.
We did have, a member come in and talk about the pedestrian traffic on Highway 212 and Highway 200 down around Dixon and the agency. That a lot of folks actually walk those areas. And there is no real, anything there for them.
Okay.
Tom?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Martin brings up a really critical point that maybe we've missed in the past, but these high density settings where it's kind of semi-urban interface, Pablo, the whole Pablo thing from S&K housing all the way to right here, this intersection right here. We should have advocated for walkways on both sides of the highway. Should have been that. And there should have been periodic crosswalks besides just the overpass. Cause it's high density, folks, and they're crossing all over. I see them crossing all the time, all over the place. And so people are speeding and, they're going fast. And yeah, I think that any future walkway, sidewalk, it should be that expectation. It should be on both sides of the road. I look at the Round Butte Road, they just put in a nice sidewalk on the northbound side of Round Butte from Highway 93 all the way out to the elevators west of town. Sidewalks in place. And people still walk on the other side of the road though. Hey, there's a sidewalk right over there, they just built for you. But so, I mean, people are gonna walk on either side of the roads. We just gotta think that pedestrians come first. And so that's my opinion, is that we need to always think that, it's pedestrians first, then those people that are wrapped around 2 tons of metal come second.
Yeah.
It should always be that way. And people will take the route of least resistance or the closest thing. So when you build trails, pathways, typically let's just see where they go. And they'll form their own paths. And then let's develop on top of that, because that's usually your best route. And I see that all the time, like right here. You'll see them walking down here by Mission Valley Power. They've got their own trail. I mean, it's a pathway all on this west side of the road. Where's the sidewalk? I mean, where's the asphalt? It's not there. It should be there. And when there's people wanting to cross from one housing unit to another, there should be a crosswalk. It should be marked, there should be a flashing, there should be a pedestrian. Even though we have an overpass crosswalk, there's got to be more. Even though there's another stoplight, couple stoplights, there needs to be more. So I don't think we can put in too much safety
Yeah.
for pedestrians.
Yeah, and that's the big focus. It's funded through a safety program. Safety is the primary objective, so, and pedestrian accommodations are certainly in that mix, and we can include that.
When you're reaching out to the law enforcement or first responders to get data, are you going to every school then to find out from the school where their kids are walking, where they're walking from?
This is a great question, and this is another area that I was seeking input on, and I'm gonna bring Mirta in on this. So another part of or component to the safety action plan and the development is public engagement and outreach. And so that was another thing we want to talk about is we've got, we're anticipating 4 tribal council presentations. We've got expectations for 2 open houses, 4 pop-up events, and 10 stakeholder outreach efforts. And so, Mirta, would you mind jumping in to talk more about our public engagement?
Yeah, absolutely. Council members, thank you once again for the opportunity to join you virtually. Before I get into the public engagement, I just wanted to let you know that we have compiled a list of mostly anecdotal locations along Highway 93 that we know have been of concern. As you know, the Coldwater Lane, the Dirty Corner is one of them that came up, and one of those Grave Wolf Peak Casino, speed limits in general in crossings. So I just wanted to let you know we hear some of, we hear your concerns. As you know, for any plan to be successful, public engagement and stakeholder input is essential. You and the people that you represent, as well as those who work and play in the planning area, know this valley best. So input from the public and stakeholders is what will make this a successful and comprehensive plan. So we identified groups of stakeholders in the planning area, included but not limited to local governments like yourselves, Montana Department of Transportation, emergency services providers, so police and fire, schools, SKC, public schools, elementary, middle, and high school, and community organizations. The planning process will be as robust as we can make it, but a huge component of that is having public engagement. That means, as Jacqueline mentioned, presentations to you, council members, and stakeholder meetings. Those meetings will be primarily to identify issues and problem areas, and over the course of the planning process to identify potential solutions or ways to mitigate the problem, so we eventually get to safer roads in the area. Open houses, those are to engage with the public and meet them where they're at. We'll provide information and engage in informal conversations with the public. Open houses are great in that they offer an opportunity to connect with different members of the community. But as you know, it's always important to have the right people at the right table in order to have a comprehensive approach to identifying solutions. So this is an invitation to you all to please let us know if we need to add anyone else, any organization in particular to this list that I just mentioned, but we'll be sharing with you what that list, the comprehensive list is. And please don't hesitate to let us know if we need to add someone else. Thank you.
Thank you, Martha. Yeah, is there any questions now for us after hearing all that? If anybody has any questions or thinks of anything afterwards, they can email me and I'll pass it along to DJ&A.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Scott, I brought this up before with the issue here going through RLE northbound. I asked before if there could be some more lights put in on those crossings there from the school. We got one out north end of town, but there should be a couple more up to the next two intersections. Because those kids walk down from the old high school, walk down through there, and then they run across the road right there, and there's no light, like the flashing light like they have down at the end there, where the cars have to stop for the kids. And both places there, we use quite a bit, because they go down to the post office at Whale Pearls. But, there's speed limits there, 35 mile an hour through town. I don't think there's a car one that follows those speed limit, because they go through here in the morning when I come to work, man. I make a lot of them mad because I slow down 25 mile an hour just to go through town, and I'm getting flipped off and everything else, But I give them I blow them a kiss and away they go, So it's like that, every day, and I do that just to make them mad. I don't speed through RLE. I just do that to make them slow down behind me. But next thing they're going, and next thing they're plumb out of sight before you get to the other end of town. And just really a safety issue for them guys in the morning to be going through there like that. I don't know where they're going to work or wherever the hell they're going, but they're in a big hurry to go. And the trucks are the same way. Them big trucks, some tanker trucks especially, they don't slow down for anything. I mean, they'll pass you. I don't care if you're going north or south. Them son of a guns are going to pass you because they're in a hurry. I had one yesterday. Tailgate me from probably out here by Allentown, clear to the top of Ravala, and then he finally passed me as we got through the curves, and he was going like I was going 70 mile an hour. He passed me. And there's no speed limit for them guys at all. Because they go and they're in a hurry or whatever they're in a hurry to do, they do it. And they're the ones that I'm more scared of than the cars because they come off that Ravala Hill as fast as they go. Sometimes I don't know if their brakes are going to hold or not. A lot of times, and they're going to run into somebody, kill somebody. And that's just an issue all the way through there with those speed limits. And like Martin said, there's hardly any highway patrol around, hardly any highway patrol at all. There might be see one or two a month if we're lucky, but they don't. You never see them stop anybody. But the issue is that with these, it's just, especially with the kids, that's what I'm concerned about is kids in RLE. Because school started again, and some of them do use that push button there to cross down by the store, but other lane that goes up to the school, there's nothing there for them to cross and push a button for them to stop for the cars, And it's just a matter of fact, we already had kids hit there once already. Lucky that none of them got killed, but they did get hurt, and it's just the idea of them, the kids are kids. They're going to take a chance whether they don't have a chance or not. They're going to give it a whirl, but it's just the idea of them not having any safety precautions there for them. Nice that
we could get them in. I asked them for it before, and they never got put in, you know, and that 35-mile-an-hour speed limit that comes into town, you know, it's 35 is supposed to be, and they don't follow that at all. They tell the speed limit's 45, 50 mile an hour going through Arley, you know, all the time. It's something else, you know.
Yeah.
Say it's this idea of kids not going to school again. It's a big concern, you know, of everybody down there that has kids going to school with those traffic, you know, traveling that fast.
Yeah, thank you for that. So I'm definitely hearing some themes of speeding, community center areas, you know, where there's schools and pedestrian traffic, whether that be adults or children. And then Mirta, just listening to that last comment, it sounds like maybe it'd be worthwhile to include reaching out to Highway Patrol and finding out any information we can about them, about their process or requirements throughout the Flathead Reservation.
Carol, go ahead.
One road that's not a road yet. A road, there seems to be need a road from the Ronan Elementary to the Tribal Health Building. That would take off some of the impact on the small road that's built towards Tribal Health. And there's gonna be a playground and a skate park and then the pickleball court, so they'll all be in that location, so we might wanna consider that for the kids to just walk from the elementary to those locations and pull them off of that old Highway 93. I know the Boys and Girls Club over there, but maybe an access to cross. I don't know. I'm just thinking, I just wanna put it on your radar, Scott, because it's gonna have to be done. Eventually, I think there's gonna be a big, Jody's talking about a 30 unit housing area back in there somewhere where it was kind of lined out before. So just give you some heads up.
Yeah, so is that road actually planned or
No,
just talked about right now?
I'm just talking about
Okay.
it right now, because you probably thought, well, I wonder if they're gonna need a road in there. Well, eventually we will if we ever put a longhouse there and then another 30 unit housing. It's gonna need that, so.
Yeah, thank you.
And you know where I'm talking about, from the back of the elementary school, just straight across that. And I don't know if there's a lot of water in there. Tom would know, but yeah, it's pretty moist back in there, so consideration for that.
Mm-hmm.
Pardon?
I guess the other place is St. Ignatius. There's people that cross over to whatever it used to be Doug Allard's, or it still is Allard's. There's a lot of foot traffic right there, and there should be a crosswalk there, probably more lighting, slower speed limit. The theme we're preaching today.
And while we're on pedestrian, the pedestrian path on Highway 77 in Hot Springs to the 28, it'd be nice that would be completed. Because people do walk that somewhat. And then one other site on 93 that I'm sure you might already have on your list is just the intersection of 212 and 93. That's an interesting place to get on 93, especially when it's foggy.
I have one last thing. Would you like any of these meetings to be in conjunction with your district meetings?
Yeah.
Yeah, that could work fairly well.
Okay.
We'll let you know when we plan one.
Yeah, thank you.
So we plan on having the draft ready by January and finalize it around February. And we're trying to time that. Usually the Safe Streets for All, NOFO, Notice of Funding Opportunity, comes out around February and applications are due in May. So we're hoping that that just seamlessly transitions you to identifying the priorities and seeking that funding for constructing. And there's 2 more years of Safe Streets for All funding under the current infrastructure bill.
Martin?
I apologize. How soon are you trying to have the meetings?
Mirta, do you have any timings in mind right now?
Not right now, but I think having meetings in conjunction with your district meetings would be ideal. So we can probably move the schedule so that we can accommodate something like that. But we'll keep you posted once we finalize those dates.
Yeah, as far as open houses, thinking maybe if we had one while we're still doing the data collection and analysis, and then have one after the draft plan is submitted. Does that work? And then as far as tribal council timings, any preferences on when you would like us to come back with information?
As quickly as you're gathering it, I suppose monthly maybe.
Okay, we'll make them pretty consistent.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hey, Jackie, is it okay if we just call you for these district meetings, or we go through Scott, or we're gonna do?
Yeah, you can let me know. And I guess either one, we'll be talking to each other.
Yep, that would be great. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Marta.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Are we looking at executive for legal? So we'll go out of regular into executive.
Morjo Shluis Quest, Ichin Plinty. My name is Christopher Morjo. I'm thankful to be in this position because I see it as an opportunity to get a lot of important work done. It was many years ago across the street, I was running around in the halls in Law and Order when my dad was a police officer here. So spent many times on this ground growing up and got to watch him build the probation office, and was always inspired by the work that he did and what he did for the tribe and how forward thinking he was. I think he was talking about healing courts and holistic approaches to probation back then, and this was 1992. He kind of always instilled that in me, and so that's kind of what I've carried going forward. And I spent a large part of what I'd call my professional career, which didn't start until I was 27 because, I was a kid, and took full advantage of that. But when I went to school to become an educator after my daughter was born, I was lucky enough to go to SKC. I sat in front of Chairman Dolson for many nights in that process. And I was blessed to go there because IFA was really, and this is something I'll clarify really quickly, because in the agency, everybody calls it IFA, and it has been put into me, and I've heard it IEFA everywhere else. So if I say IFA, that's what I'm talking about. But it was really taken off at that point, and Doug Ruman and Cindy Odell and Amy Berland, all those teachers really, Cynthia David really leaned into that aspect of our education and preparing us to be the leaders in the state. And SKC still is. When you look at teacher prep programs across the state, there's an IFA class is what I've been told, and it's not integrated, even though IEFA is supposed to be across all content areas, and the model that SKC did, we did that. We made sure that there was an IEFA component in almost everything we did. And so I was blessed to do that. I got my first job at Dayton, the little school, and I was the kindergarten through second PE. I was a lunch person. I was the 5th and 6th science and social studies teacher, on top of having the 2nd grade class for my regular instruction. And we had no principal there, so it was hard. I burnt out my first year, took a year off, and then went back to Ronan to be a para. And special education was kind of my passion and my love when I was in school. And got to work under Joan Graham, who is amazing and just knew SPED inside and out. And so there's an OPI saying there that when other educators come across a teacher that got to work under Joan Graham, they're like, oh, you're from the school of Joan Graham. And then I've tried it's not the accreditation, but the review for SPED, they've tried to snipe me a couple of times now at OPI while I was working, and I just didn't want anything to do with it because it was during the past 8 years. So I kindly said no to that, and ended up at Willard Alternative, which was the best experience I ever had. Something I'm really passionate about, maybe bringing a model like that to our reservation someday. I think there's room for that under the new charter law, but that's not what I'm here today for, but that's my passion. And so with that, I got kind of frustrated with special education and all of the work that goes into it as far as like administrative stuff and keeping up on your IEPs and meeting parents and staying on top of all that I thought there had to be an easier way. And I was getting kind of bored in my master's program for educational leadership. So I made the dumb decision. Well, I always say it's dumb, but then people push back on me to go to law school. And so I finished that off. While in law school, I figured out law is not where it's at. I should have went into the MPA for the policy program that they had there, or at least added it to the law degree, because policy is where you actually make change. And so that experience was good because it gave me a lot of knowledge I didn't have, just like about sovereignty and the relationships between the different governments in the United States. And went back and taught in Ronan for another year and a half because I had to walk away because of personal moral objections to some of the stuff that was going on there at the administrative level, and me not being able to service my students the legal way, I'll just say that. And so I stepped away from there and applied for the IFA position, thinking change is on the horizon. I can handle it for the time being until, I'll just say it. I'm an authentic person until new leadership at OPI could come in and fix what had gone wrong as far as IFA, because there's not a lot of support there right now for our department. We have to fight to be at the table constantly. The law school did teach me a lot about sovereignty, and that is my fight every day now. That's what I wake up to do, to make sure that our voice is, especially at the state agency table, because they think they have a lot of power. They don't, in my opinion. But I've learned that I need to also be humble in this position and maybe not be as aggressive as I tend to be when pushing back against systems. This is about as dressed up as you'll ever see me, because I think that the whole idea of the dress has to match your profession is a Western concept that has no bearing at all on what I can do with my brain and who I am as a person. And so I'll wear whatever I want to wear. And actually, the first day, one of my team members, her first thought of me was, is this guy going to take this position seriously? Because I was dressed just like this as my first day at OPI. And she's on board now. It's just my style. I'm also like, where I can push back is time. I had a conversation about time with my supervisors and said that's also a Western construct. Like, the time for me to do a project is the time it's going to take. If you're going to call me into meetings, I can guarantee you if I'm working on something else in my head, I'm not going to be present there. You might get just the topical version of me, because that's
where my work is at. That's where my being is at. And it was received pretty well because they asked me, how would you operate in this Western civilization? And it was so bounded by time. And that was the explanation I gave. And they took it well, but we'll see if practice goes in, because that was at the strategic planning we got to do at SKC, which was awesome just last week. Tammy Elser facilitated that for us, and we got a lot of closure on some of the bad things that have happened over the years within the team. And we have a strategic plan in place, and I'm really excited about that. And the nice part was I got inspiration from Michelle, actually, to stand my ground and say that you hired me for a position, let me do this work. And I got a little bit of the micromanaging stuff removed from me. And so now I can really, I can do this. I put this on the external calendar. I let my supervisor know that I'm trying to reach all councils in Montana. So I figured I'd start with the one that was only 5 miles away. And that's what brought me in here today, was just to introduce myself, let you know that one of my major goals is to get out and get tribes involved in this process as much as possible. We have MACI, which I don't know what the acronym stands for off the top of my head. I'm still getting settled in, but that's the group that consults with IFA and OPI. And so one of our main pushes, and that's led by Jordan Langford, and one of her and I's major pushes is going to be to get representatives who are willing to show up and do that work for all of those meetings. So that's kind of, those are the easy things. And this is an easy place to start because you all have Michelle Mitchell, who is amazing and an inspiration to me. And so this was the easy spot, because I'm so proud of this tribe all the time, because we are just at the front all the time in leading these things. And there's tribes in our state that don't even have an educator coordinator position at all. And so that's something I want to go out and get the message out about, how important that piece is for those tribes, because Indian Education for All is for all students in Montana, which is sometimes I have a hard time breaking away from just wanting to serving the Indigenous students, but it also gives me an opportunity to go out and work with administrators and superintendents and school boards who we might see a little bit more pushback on with this. Speaking from experience, I know that there's a lot of administrators that will just push this work onto their IFA coordinator or whoever they have in that position to handle like our reporting and stuff. And so my thing is that this work will not truly shine until administrators know just as much as those IFA coordinators, because it's got to be coming from them. It's got to be coming from school boards. And so one of Dr. Brooke Gandara is the director for the Tribal Students and Relations, Achievement and Relations now, and her and I will go on a little tour across the state to meet councils and meet schools and get this message out. And so that's some work I'm really looking forward to. And Rob Watson actually is the director of the School Administrators of Montana now. He's a huge supporter of us. He is giving me so many opportunities to get the IFA message out and get it straight to the administrators. Rather than a breakout session on September 23rd, I have the whole audience to present to. And one of the things we talked about in our strategic planning was the need to address bias at these positions, and just reframing how important this is. And this is not just an educational issue. This is a social justice issue when it comes down to it. And so just to give you a little idea of where I'm coming from, my plan is to present my slide deck to my upper management on what I'm going to present at that. But what I will not include in there is the 15 to 20 minutes I'll probably start off with talking about anti-bias training and how important it is, and how this is a social justice thing, because right now equity is a 4-letter word in the state government, and that is wrong. So I'm planning to be a little subversive, maybe not too subversive, but I went into this and I told them in my interview, I did go to law school. I have a degree to fall back on. I'm not afraid of you firing me. I'm here to make change. And they still hired me. I don't know what the heck they were thinking, but they gave me the position now, so I'm going to take it. I'm going to run with it and do everything I can. And I'm looking for support from all tribal councils too, because I think this is the most important voice in this whole process because of the sovereignty issue. This is something we need to, as tribes, push out and get into the schools as much as possible. And I'm more than happy to be that hammer to go into the schools and to go into these places and to make that happen for as long as they'll let me stay at OPI. And I'm thankful that you guys got me in here. The scheduling is a little wild sometimes, but I'm happy to be here. I really thank you for your time, and I would love any questions or clarifications or thoughts or ideas or suggestions that you have for me that I can take into my work.
Any questions for Chris? Thoughts? Go, Kara.
I think you're the right person for the right time. There's definitely a lot of things going on that we need to hammer home, and I think you're up for the task. And I'll pray for you daily, Chris. I've known you since you were a little tiny boy. So I know that you will be able to do the job and do it very well. And I just hope they keep you around because they understand that it is important that all voices be heard. And our children are the most important people to us to get educated. So yeah, I'm just really thankful you're there. And I know you're going to do a good job for us. Thank you. And any support you need from us, let us know.
Montana Advisory Council on Indian Education.
Yeah, I've got so many acronyms running through my head now. That's all I got storage for at this point.
And I've been neglecting my responsibility there a little bit. So I intend to fix that as well. They do good work. I'm glad to see that you're there and that they're there. And when it's Indian education for all, looking to the non-Indian community, because those are the people we have to deal with. And when they're ignorant, it's very hard to deal with them. So I see that component as almost as important as to our kids. So any other thoughts or questions for Chris? Go ahead, Martin.
Just wanted to congratulate you and kind of echo what Carol said. Thankful that you're there, and yeah, there's a lot in education, and especially for Indian Ed, it's, you know, critical for our kids. And yeah, I appreciate where you're at, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Tom.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and tribal council members. Christopher, congratulations.
Thank you.
I don't know how fast you can get out there and edify everybody, but by golly, you know, get out there as quick as you can, because it reminded me of Dolores that was here this morning, and in certain parts, if not all of the mega part of the state, is going backwards. We're on a progression of going backwards in our evolution. And we need to be going forward. And I appreciate that about some of the Democratic Party messaging, but it is incredible that Project 25 or Day One, I mean, you're talking about some horrific things. And it's ignorance, it's absolute ignorance. It's not being inclusive. And so any headway you can make with that, stand your ground, you know, and try to educate, and hopefully you're successful and win over some hearts and minds as you move forward.
Thank you all. That's the goal.
Anything else? Anything else, Chris?
I would just say that I am looking forward to working with the tribe already. I've been kind of hatching a little plan with Michelle, and I'm really excited about the opportunity of that, but I won't dive into that because I don't want to step on her toes in case that's something she's already going to talk about. But it would be modeled after something that I saw in Ronan last year that I really found inspirational, and it was the students, some of our Native American students got into the regalia, and we had a drum come in and they did like a powwow exhibition on songs and what the dances mean and where they come from, the history behind them. And I think that's the type of stuff we need to get out to some of the non-native population to show, like, because our non-native students at Ronan were asking them all sorts of questions after they got off, and they were really engaged by it. And I think it broke down some of the fear around maybe even just going to a powwow. And so I'm looking forward to doing that in the Bitterroot, where I think it really needs to be done, considering it's, well, there should be a reservation up there for us, first of all, and second of all, just what the Bitterroot has turned into, probably, if I had to classify it, the fan base of Project 2025.
Well said.
Hey, Tom.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That I've always kind of been, trying to propose or be a champion of getting us back into our entire landscape, all of our Aboriginal territory, even hosting events or activities. And so that's what you're talking about. Even more so trying to get us back onto private land where we've been removed from. It's been a, generational loss of, we still have this innate respect for the land and those locations, and there's sites and activities that we need to restore. So, if you come up with any ideas of that, I just think we should be having a powwow in Bozeman. We should be all over the landscape on various different occasions and remind them that this is our place. We've been here forever, and that's part of that edification. So, if you think of those things and bring them forward, it's just like the event in Missoula when we're talking about the old Higgins Street Bridge and what's going on there. Yeah, I'd like to see him give us the keys to Hamilton, but it's really important to be able to do that and to have events and get our people back on the landscape, because it's part of our self-esteem, part of our ability to heal and strengthen our communities and our people. And just encourage you to do that.
Well, that's the people and the tribes. That's what's at the heart of my work every day that I do. And so some of the other stuff that comes along with this position, I try to just ignore if I can. I don't know if y'all saw Elsie's press release on Friday, but I was less than impressed. But there's nothing I can do about that. So I move on with what I can do. And our strategic plan is going to shake some things up. I'll just stay tuned for that.
Well, thank you, Chris, and
Mike.
definitely. We got somebody online.
No, I was gonna invite him.
Oh, okay, go ahead, Martin.
We're doing the Bear Tracks Bridge, October 14th in Missoula. It's a Monday. It's Indigenous People Day, formerly some guy that stumbled upon some things day. So it's if you want to come down and introduce yourself or table or whatever, just come and hang out, please do.
But what time is that going to be?
Probably start 1-ish.
I've got to put it in my calendar now or it'll be lost. Yeah, well, my dad always called it Indian time, so I'm trying to bring it into the 21st century. It's just say time's a Western construct. I don't go by that.
Go ahead, Tom.
I was on a conference call during lunch hour, and I was talking to one of the Ted Turner Foundation members. And they have an initiative where they realize, hey, you know what? We have all these big ranches. We have 45,000 head of buffalo. And we really should be trying to partner or do more with the adjacent tribes. We don't do anything. And so they started an initiative to bring local tribal youth to a couple of the different ranches, or, a stay and a whole interpretive thing, and bringing them back to that private land that they had a connection to, part of that restorative effort. So I'm going to be pushing that actually next week for Ted Turner's assets here in Montana. So that would be the lower Three Forks and Ennis area. So I might be looking forward to at least some of our tribal youth having an event there.
that would be awesome. I could already, like something like a river honoring popped in my head immediately for something like that.
Well, thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, council. Apologize again for being late.
One quick little add-in while we're waiting for them.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hey, Pat.
Good afternoon. I wanted to welcome our representatives. This is a Families First group and Department of Justice group that came to visit us today as our Families First grant that we have that Pat monitors and Christina's also a part of. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves. This is kind of their field visit that they come out every so often. And we are doing a little bit of a tour and they wanted to meet you and to introduce themselves.
Hello, everyone. My name is Hannah Zuroff. I am the Executive Director at Families First, based out of Missoula, but we have an office in Polson that Brittany Simonich, who's sitting next to me here, runs. And we're so excited because we received a $765,000 grant. That sounded like Hannah, so I was trying to figure out if I was doing something wrong. But it's based on supporting families of all backgrounds and their involvement with the criminal justice system and also prevention with that for youth and their parents. So we have a lot of different programs. We actually had to build a flow chart to go through all of that, but a lot of the programs actually happen throughout Lake County here on the reservation. And so I'd just like to introduce the folks that are here on our site visit today. We have Colette.
Hi, pleased to meet you all.
Isabel, and Sandy, and they are our training and technical assistance providers with the Family-Based Justice Center out of NYU, which is contracted through the Department of Justice for training and technical assistance support for their grantees. So they've been, helping us with getting resources, figuring out best practices, supporting our evaluation measures to ensure successful implementation and longevity of the impact we're trying to make with the families we're serving. So I'm going to hand it over to Brittany, who will share a little bit about the work that we're doing here.
Good afternoon. My name is Brittany Simonich, and I'm the Associate Director in Lake County here for Families First. And we are really just trying to build our programming here in Lake County. Since 2019, we've been slowly growing our programming. Some of our programs include Mending Broken Hearts, which is out of the Well-Variety White Bison. And through this Department of Justice grant, we are trying to offer more Circle of Security parenting workshops. This summer, we offered a Dream Bigger teen mentoring program out of Polson Schools, hoping to expand that to Ronan next summer and possibly even to Mission or Arlee. Some other things that we offer is a Moms Connect group, which started just this summer, which is a 5-week wellness series, which is actually kind of modeled after the tribal health and their program that they did with Go Red for Women month in February. So we've been partnering with Tribal Health, Providence St. Joseph Hospital, also St. Luke Community Healthcare. to provide this traveling wellness series. We've partnered with Three Chiefs Cultural Center and Glacier Bank, SKC. And so really our goal here is to continue growing, learning, and networking and partnering with different organizations to promote our programming. And the beauty about this programming and the generous grant that we received is it is free, and which includes childcare and dinner as well. So I am just honored to be here today. Thank you so much for having us. And I appreciate Pat and Patricia and Christina for having us here. And so happy to have our guests. It's been a wonderful day. We have gone to the Never Alone Recovery Special Services, Support Services, excuse me. We've been to the library. We've been to Fun and Fancy Free Learning Center, and that's who we partner with for childcare. And so we've had a very busy day, and what a great culmination being here this afternoon. So thank you so much.
We'd love to answer any questions if anyone has any too about the work that we're doing or our awesome folks here on a site visit.
Anybody?
Maybe.
Go ahead, Carol.
So what exactly does your site visit entail? I mean, do you have criteria? I'm sure you do, but what does it consist of?
Well, first, Hische Sango. My name is Isabel Coronado. I'm a citizen of the Muskogee Creek Nation, but I'm employed by NYU to do the technical and training assistance for this grant. We're funded by the Office of DOJ, but also under the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. And really, what we do, like Hannah and Brittany were saying, is we help set these programs up. And what we're trying to do is keep families together. So ensuring that the kids who have parents in jail or prison, that those parents aren't going to jail and prison, and that they have the opportunity to stay in the community with their children. Because we know, like, when parents go away, their children either go to the foster care system or with auntie, uncle, grandparents. And so we, as the technical training assistants, get to travel all over. We have 10 grantees all across the US right now. One here in Missoula, which partners with here in Lake County. And so a lot of our site visits is learning, because these diversions, alternatives, keeping parents and children together is new. So we're learning. We came yesterday, toured Missoula and the Missoula Public Library where Families First is at. Today we toured the recovery center, the library, the childcare facilities here. And like I said, these programs are really new. Like, what's the best practices to keep families together? And so each site that we're going to, we're learning, piecing it together. We have a website called the FamilyBasedJusticeCenter.org, where we're kind of compiling what these are looking like nationwide.
It sounded like to me when I was reading the letter that it sounded like you just all come together to start this coordination of visiting sites. And am I right, or was that a whole different letter? I mean, it just seemed like you just kind of got started on this to go visit each site. And
so we get to visit all the different sites throughout the US.
Okay.
But we're specifically just here to visit this one site. They're coordinating within their own community. And then even as a grant, we want to bring all the grantees together at some point to have that coordination. But just as the TA, we're the ones that
I think
visit the site.
that's a good idea. I mean, everybody kind of learns from other people's models and gets little tweaks here and there and brings a good program together. You know, we got Boys and Girls Club. We've got a lot of things going on here for our children. Council finally, not finally, but, decided that we have some extra money. Let's put it prevention for our children and start, incorporating things like that into the community. So kids have, really safe things to do. So it's been wonderful to watch how much stuff we have going on around here for kids and things like that. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you for visiting.
Thank you. I'd also just love to add, Families First also partners with the Child Care Block Grant here with the tribe specifically to provide education for the childcare providers throughout the full reservation. So we work really closely with Josie Drennan Beck because she just got married. And we have been with that relationship, probably 15 years at least, way before I was here. So super excited to be able to continue that partnership. And we're really looking forward as Families First is kind of growing our roots and building our sustainability here locally, that we, can come together and try to work more collaboratively with tribal programs, including with Pat in the Families First department of the tribe to hopefully not duplicate services, but just enhance it all together and be able to, service families even better than we're currently doing.
Really believe Pat's the Energizer Bunny.
Yeah.
He's all over the place, when it comes to kids, he's right there to step up and help.
I think you're the fourth person that's used that
Really?
metaphor with
For
him
Pat?
that I've heard. Yeah,
Oh,
actually, Energizer Bunny, like.
I know, he's paid us all, no. No, we had his grand opening of a skate park, and here I'm congratulating everybody. He's the one I forgot. He's the one that brought everything down. I mean, I just couldn't believe that I forgot him, so I gave him Pearl Jam tickets. I mean, I got him for nothing, so I thought, give him to somebody that really did step up and help and really did a lot for us that day, so thank you, Pat.
We gave them to our boys, they're from California, and we climbed the end. We listened to it from the end.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for having us, and thank you, Pat, for bringing us all together today. I really appreciate it.
Good to meet you all and
Thank you.
safe travels.
Thank you. Can we take a picture of this right here? Thank you.
Do you want it?
Oh, you can ask them. Yeah, I wanna be with them. Yeah, sure. I want that sign right there.
There.
Yes, I wanna.
You want to get a picture? No.
You gotta face this thing. I should not have that computer in there. Carol, you gotta, there you go. Yeah, Martin, cause you're not in it now either. I don't know. I'm short.
Just say.
Len, you're looking down. There you go. That better? Yeah. Better, right? And see, oh, this is a competition.
That great.
Are you telling? You got it without that.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, now. One more sit down.
So, should I leave on the garden?
Hi, good afternoon. I'll try to get this on the screen share if I can remember right.
You did. Oh, you have my. All right, some action items that came up after the, land committee. First item up, show interest in the Felsman allotment bordering the north side of the Bison Range, 80 acres. Motion by Tom, second by Bing. All in favor? Carol? Unanimous. Those were, the admin fees were those, vaulted toilets, Tribal Lands would like to get authorization to work sole source with Montana Concrete, I believe it is, to do vaulted toilets. Missoula Concrete, sorry, Missoula Concrete, to do a number of vaulted toilets for recreation sites, skate parks, and so forth. We will be working with Todd Espinoza out of Wildland Rec and Rich Jensen on extra locations even to get these placed, so we can get a big order in and utilize funding that is available. Go ahead, Tom.
I would like a priority for the skate parks and the basketball courts before we venture to, and the softball field, before we go to other spots. We have an obligation, we have an obligation for the skate parks, for sure.
So I will do 3 and 3 for both, for the basketball and softball field right now, 3 for the skate parks, 3 for the softball fields, and that for priority wise, and then work with Todd on the rest on certain locations where we would like to see some more go in.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Motion by Jimmy, second by Carol. All in favor? Unanimous?
Jimmy, Carol.
Full sourcing toilets. Yep. Next item up was to add Melanie Smith to Steve Dupuy's Blue Bay business lease. Go ahead, Martin.
I thought we were gonna hold off on that until we got written permission. Otherwise, I'm gonna be opposed to.
Okay, I will rescind that request. No motion on the floor. Next. Moving to a 6-month revocable permit for the rental at Halverson property. Motion by Len. Second by Jimmy. All in favor? Martin? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 4. Opposed?
I mean, knowing the history of her previous residence, understanding all the circumstances in this, it's not fair to, you know, a family that needs this house. You know, this is a 5-bedroom house. We have plenty of homeless people. We dealt with a homeless person this morning. You know, we're bending over backwards for someone that was in non-compliance, that didn't pay a penny of rent. And here we go, just enabling these people. And I love Kate, but you know, we're just giving money away is what we're doing. So, yeah, I have to be opposed to it.
Motion passes 7-4, one against, Martin.
Next item up, motion to accept lump sum instead of bond for the T-Mobile cellular contract.
Motion by Martin. Second by Tom. All in favor? Unanimous.
Last item up would be Tribal Lands is requesting permission to advertise after the second cut of the hay so we could get it out to our tribal members early.
Motion by Bing, second by Martin. All in favor?
We have to talk to legal.
But number 3 in this,
Rescind the current action.
I was still waiting for your vote and Len on the last issue,
On the hay.
on the hay. Okay, in favor, unanimous. The question is on the Gillen lot, the expansion of the other lot.
First would be to rescind the prior action done on July 2nd to extend, and then have legal interpretation of the rest of, that number 3 that was brought up.
If we can do that in 2 pieces, it would be cleaner. The rescind by itself and then anything after that. Motion to rescind by Carol. Second by Danielle. All in favor of rescinding the action that was taken to extend the lot? All in favor? You okay with that, Jimmy? Carol Martin? You Cindy? Yes, Bing? No? So to rescind, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you said no, Bing? So 3 no's. 5, 4, and 3 against. Tom, Bing, and Martin against, rescinding the action. The motion carries to rescind the action. Now, the last motion would be to look at option 3, if that is what you were talking about, Carol. Option 3 with legal review is what you were saying. That's your motion? Go ahead, Bing.
I want to change my vote. I want to go ahead and, go with
The rescind. So the rescind has 6, 4, and 2 against. Martin and Tom. Well, I think Lands is responsible to take that 2-home situation and deal with it. And if they do and actually look at whatever action needs to be taken to divide that, if it needs to be divided, after it's divided, the one lot will be empty and it'll be a whole lot easier to work with. But that's a matter of what's going on in lands. Martin?
If I can talk vaguely, the issue that I brought up this morning, or should we go back into executive? About the house down the road.
Oh, there was an update on that one. Thanks for bringing that up.
So, I mean, I don't know if this would be an executive thing or not. I just,
If you're not sure, we should go into executive then. Out of regular, back into executive.
Like maybe next week sometime, or you can give us an update on that boat launch down in Moe's. It doesn't have to be today unless you want to have that conversation. I mean, it's getting late.
Boat launch in Moe's, I can give a better update. I can do a down and dirty right now. They have been down there looking and, checking it all out. They have seen it. We've talked with, other departments on this. We are still monitoring it. They have seen individuals down there with 4 county plates that they have, we weren't able to talk to with anybody, but they have noticed it. There is no council action on getting that as a launch or anything. There was no cultural clearance or anything done on it for this to be put into place from any department, even though somebody else already did it. Those actions still needed to be taken.
Mark, just real quick, so if, Zim Lidle were to send something in writing to council requesting to close his egg lease, a council action could get that gate locked?
We can try that. The problem was that they've already put in a metal gate down there, to block it off from that access because they were always leaving the gate open. So the lessees actually put and went with their own money, bought a metal gate to go across the road with the hopes that it would be easier for them to open and shut. When it was shut and it wasn't even locked, an individual went in there and just ran it over and busting it off the posts. So it's still laying there and it is in a nice little crescent moon shape from where the truck drove it over. So locking it, I don't know if that's gonna stop them. We can request it from him to get it in writing and bring it into council to get that okayed, but I don't know if it's gonna be a true fix or if it's gonna be more damage done to the lessee's property.
I just think we need it on record that we did give permission to lock.
You did
Or
give
the-
them?
No, we have not yet.
They have not, they would like to.
Horty Reservoir.
Horty. We've also done it, just down the road on Schoolhouse Lane for at least 2066 or 2060, where individuals were going in there and trying to create a boat launch and running over irrigation equipment and so forth. Yes. We did it for Mission Creek Ranch also. At one
Mr.
time.
Chair?
Go ahead, Danielle.
Yeah, for this launch here at the end of Locust Lane,
Locust Lane.
I drove down there and actually drove down to the river to kind of take a look at it last week. And there's just no signage out there at all. Nothing says tribal land, nothing says lease land, nothing says permits required. They are starting to make several new roads out there through
Yes.
there. And I know that's been a concern. We see it down all over Moe's Valley. There's some designated tracks and trails, or some that have just been there a long time. You think they're supposed to be there, but we're starting to see lots of new trails out there along the river.
Shooting ranges and so
Yeah.
forth in that area too, as our compliance crew found out. They want to go down, they've noticed that where these illegal boat launches and such are, my compliance staff seen pink ribbon leading these individuals in there because it is not posted anywhere that there's this access point there, but it's funny that Missoula County residents realize it and know right where to go. And they follow the pink ribbons into like 3 different locations. They said they've seen these pink ribbons going in. So I can get more information. I had the guys go out there again today just to do some more monitoring, but I also had them, they were gonna head back up to Lozo. And I think that one is gonna be tomorrow. They have worked with Payton and Howard on that one. And no use at all when they were up there in the area. Checked their camera, there was no use. The day they were not up there, the next day they weren't up there one day, the next day they were up there and they were right on the trail, right on the camera. But they're actively going after that one also. I worked with Katie on that one also. She's reaching out to the Fish Wildlife Service. So we can hold a meeting on it to make sure, because they may not even know they're utilizing bikes or anything on it. And we were thinking that is a pack trail only, is what we think that is designated at through the Forest Service. So she's reaching out to the district ranger, and if not, she's reaching out to the state and everybody else to get involved with this. So those are the two that we've been looking really deeply into. And I know Dan and those guys have looked at some. I just don't know all of their side of it. I just know that our crew has talked with Dan, and I've seen Dan, not Dan, but with the rangers and or the wardens, and they Dan posted yesterday that he's done some follow-up on that one down at Locust. But our crew is actively looking at all of it still. Yeah.
What else? We're out of executive.
Tribal Lands would like to make a motion for range unit 47 to lock the gate to try to prevent individuals creating those access points to the river for the lessee.
Motion by Len. Lock the gate. Get a second? Carol? All in favor? Unanimous.
And just for clarification too with council on that locking it, that is for the Locust and I think Schoolhouse Lane.
Okay, also, Mr. Chairman and members of the council, just an amendment to that, if we could put signage up there also.
Yeah, I got to work with AJ because I know he ordered a bunch of those signs.
Okay.
That it's tribal property, that it's a lease lot and stuff. I just don't know if they're completed yet. Because we were working with Tony on that for signage for all roadage going into trust property. So, well, that's all tribal.
Motion by Carol.